What's up, everybody? Let me just get Morgan on here real quick. Let's see, that should work. I've never invited somebody, so bear with me for a moment. Okay, let's see if that works. And then if it does, Morgan should be joining us. So, uno momento. Hi, Shelby. Morgan, is it letting you join? Go live with Morgan. Invite. Add. Let's see if this works. I've never done this before. So I know you do this all the time when you're adding people, but it's new for me.
Okay, there we go. It told me I had to rotate my phone. Hey.
Okay,
there we go.
We're good to go. What's up, everybody?
Hi.
Morgan's here now, so we talk.
Yay.
Hopefully, let me turn it. I don't know if you can see my face or not. I don't know how it looks to you, but bear with me for a second.
It looks good. Looks good to me.
Okay. Well, your little box is like on the top right of my phone, and I don't know if other people can see that, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I know, like, I like to go like horizontal, but this works too because I do it with other people too, and it's our first time, and we'll figure it out. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. And excuse my voice. I'm like getting over being sick, and so I have cough drops, and I'm like, I hope I don't have like a hacking fit on a live, but. So I have kind of man voice right now. I do not normally sound like this, but I've been really excited for this.
I think it sounds cool, so.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm a smoker, but I'm not. So, but anyways, yeah, I'm glad this finally worked out on the super moon night, right? Isn't that crazy?
I know, super full moon. If you guys don't know what that is, you need to find it out.
I know. I'm still learning all about moon stuff, but it's so fascinating for me. So, anyways, but yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. My husband's out for the week, and so I'm hoping my kids don't like barge in. I have them watching How to Train Your Dragon 2 in their room right now for spring break. So I'm like, I think they're entertained. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to share this on my wall too. Okay.
If not, I mean, that's real life, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Exactly.
So
yes.
It's all good.
Exactly.
Let's see who all's on here. We got a bunch of people watching live. We got Shelby, Omar, Heather, Tia, Josh, Mark, Crystal, Kathy, Tom. What's up, guys? Okay, so officially, welcome to episode 1 of our Awaken Vlogcast. We're like super excited about this.
Yes,
so thank you guys for tuning in.
Let's see.
So
let's see. Tom says, why am I here? I don't know. I don't know why you're watching. Why are you here?
Because you're supposed to be here, Tom.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
why.
so.
I don't know.
Oh gosh.
You were led to be here, I guess. To hear whatever we have to talk about.
You can leave if you want. It's okay. It won't hurt our feelings.
Yeah. We want to fitness. Whoever's supposed to hear our message is going to be here tonight and every time we're live. That's just how it works.
Let's see. So. Okay. All right. Just making sure it's up on my computer. Okay, well, where do we start? Like, how do we want to start?
Maybe like just introducing ourselves, like who we are, what we do kind of thing. And we'll go more into what we do, but just so some of us, like some of my viewers don't know who you are, some of your viewers don't know who I am. So do you want me to start?
Yeah, you start. You start. You're the host.
So, no, we're both the hosts. So basically, we talked about this, it's been a couple weeks now. We were supposed to start our first episode last week, and then Facebook and Instagram had a meltdown because they couldn't handle what we were going to talk about on here.
I know. They're like,
we decided to come to you guys today.
Like everything went down, and you're like, what's happening? So anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm Ashton. I live in Oklahoma, and I am the founder of Transcend Wellness in Norman, Oklahoma. And I do a couple different things there. I do energy work, stuff like that. I do a lot of emotional healing sessions, so actually helping people rewire their minds if they've been through trauma or fears or phobias, stuff like that. And that's what I do. And I started that after being on my own journey with an illness that I exhausted all Western medicine. It wasn't getting any better, so I started looking at alternatives. And it led down a road. Long story short, here I am, and I want to help other people who might be in the same predicament that I was in. So.
Exactly. That's and I know, like I I'm trying to think back. Like I've known you for a while and I met you because of those things. And I used your services to help with those very things. And so does Jeremy. And so anyways, I'm a rambler too. So, so my name's Morgan. I live in Oklahoma. I'm not part of Transcend Wellness, but like I said, I do support it. But I work at home. I'm a mom of 3 boys. I homeschool, and I'm very into publicly advocating for pretty much anything that's kind of alternative, what a lot of people consider weird. Those things are awesome to me. So I educate about CBD. I advocate for cannabis, and I just like to share things that are just different, because throughout my journey, I have questioned things and I've never really felt like I had an outlet for those. So you have all these questions that go on in your head and you're like, I can't ask these questions. These things are weird. I can't, I just can't ask these questions. And so,
or who do you talk to about it?
I know you can't, like, even in some cases a while back, like my husband was like, whoa, babe, like, I think you can talk to me about this stuff. Luckily we've come a long way. And so I want to provide a space for people to just ask questions and for me to share what I've been through and just let people know they're not alone with these questions that you have, whether it's about cannabis or CBD or religion or aliens or energy healing or whatever. Like, I really don't care. I'm open to any and all discussion, because asking questions and being curious is just really who I am now and what I'm passionate about. And when you ask questions, you can educate yourself. And when you're educated, you learn new things. And then you create this ripple effect on the world. And that's how we create change. And as a mom, I want to change the world for my kids. So that's why I'm here, and that's what I do.
Yeah, so that's very similar, like I said, to mine. Like I am always asking questions, trying to figure out why things work, and then wanting to share that with other people. When I figure something out, like I just want to shout it from the rooftops, because who knows whose life it could impact, and change. Because maybe they've been in the same situation that I was. But with mine, it was more physical illness, and emotional stuff that I was going through, traumas. I worked on healing, and I just know that there's somebody else out there that is going through those same things. We're all good. And like you said, they may not have an outlet or someone to talk to about it or even know where to go. Like, I liked learning. So when I exhausted Western medicine, I was like, well, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to be like this forever. When I started asking questions, I started doing research, and that got me to where I am now. And then some people just don't know where to start. It can be overwhelming. So that's really why I'm here. This is my purpose. Really, 110%, this is my purpose.
I believe it. I believe it. Sorry for the coughing, guys. I'm like, darn it, we'll get through this. I'm a throat spray and everything.
It's natural. Look at that.
It's embarrassing though. But yes, it's real life. Like people cough. People cough, okay? If my coughing is like annoying you, you can turn it off and like come in next week. But
or you can just laugh along with us and know that you've probably had a coughing fit at something.
This is like the epitome of my life. It's just like weird, awkward things happen, but I just go with the flow, and like, it's fine. I laugh at myself. And I think it's really important that you can laugh about things, that you can laugh at yourself when things happen, or like you have a coughing fit, or you like find out something weird, or you ask a weird question. You're like, that is so weird. Or like, I had this weird experience, and like, you got to have fun. Like, because there's a lot of fear stuff out there. There's a lot of people that are just down in life, and they're just like really hard on themselves, and like everything sucks and woe is me. And you got to lighten up sometimes. Like, nobody's perfect. And social media is, I like to say it's a lot like money, because everyone's like, oh, money's the root of all evil. And it's like, no, how you use money is what makes it positive or negative. It's the same thing with social media. There's a lot of fakeness out there, a lot of just crap, but there's also a lot of good things out there, and real people like us that just want to be real and share our experiences.
The community online. Because, like, for instance, we live here in Oklahoma, in the Bible Belt. There's not a huge community here for people like us that like to talk about the things to talk. So we offer that space for people who might be in that same situation, maybe in a small town somewhere, anywhere really. It could be anywhere in the world, and maybe you just don't have a support system or friends or family or whoever you can talk to about that. That's a space we want to hold for everybody. So when you guys are communicating on here on these lives, you messaging us and commenting and stuff, that's the stuff we want to talk about. We want to have an open dialogue conversation. That's what we talk about, lots of different topics, and it can be stuff that maybe you guys want us to talk about. You can send us messages and comments like, hey, could you guys cover this? I've got questions, whatever. We're looking for all of that stuff. And again, a comment will work too. Like if maybe you have a question during a live and you want to know right then, send us a comment and we'll try to answer it as we go too.
Exactly. I need an alien to give me some tech to like fix my throat immediately. If there's any aliens out there watching, like send me some like alien technology to fix my throat right now. There you go. Yes, please.
It's because you're using your throat chakra right now to speak the truth.
I know. I'm like, are they attacking me? I'm like, I do think about those things sometimes. Because I do things live. I have to use my voice, and there are times where I've noticed when I do get sick now, like I'll just be like sick for a day where I have a fever or something, but the after effects is it's my voice and my throat. And I know people out there like, oh, you're paranoid and all that stuff, but there's spiritual warfare and energetic attacks, and I think sometimes like they like to come after my throat, and it's like, don't talk about what you have to talk about. And I'm like, no, I'm going to, even if I'm coughing through it, because you're not going to take my voice. My voice is my tool, and it's valuable. And
and sometimes it too can be like us stopping ourselves subconsciously, like your body, you can really to like share some real truth, and your body's like, no, because all that subconscious fear. So it's like, let me give you a reason not to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Then you should still do that thing.
Exactly. Because I did have a thought today. I was like, maybe I should tell Ashton that we should skip today because my throat is still being weird. But then I'm like, no, we're just going to power through it. We're just going to do it because people will watch, and it's okay if I cough. Like, it's not the end of the world. So, but yeah, that's a good point too. It's not always, someone's attacking me, but that's how Morgan thinks sometimes. It gets a little bit crazy in my head, but
it's a lot of people. It's not just
exactly. Exactly. Like, it's not just me. Other people worry about the same things too. And that's why we want to openly talk about all these alternative things, because I guarantee you, like, probably 50% of the population is like at least thinking these different things like right now, like, is that real? Like, I read this, that can't be real. That has to be real. Yeah. It just feels like it's real. And yeah, these things, they're real,
All good. So some of the things that we could talk about tonight, maybe just showing the people, like when I mentioned energy work earlier, there might be some people that don't even know what that is or have never even heard of that before. Yes. I mean, I can talk about that if you want.
Yeah,
give your voice a little.
Yeah, give my voice a rest. But yes, because I 100% believe in what you do, which is why we continue to see you and use you. So go ahead and share like what you do and what it is for people that are curious about, like, what is the energy work? Is that even real? Does that really work? That would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just start kind of with my story, how I even got into energy work. So it's been about since 2015, so about 4 years now. 4 years, because it's 2019. I had the worst pain I've ever had I don't know if you guys can see this in the video, but about right here in my abdomen, like the worst pain. And it was constant all the time. And basically I went to all the doctors. I had thousands of dollars in tests done. I saw the specialists, like all this stuff. They couldn't figure out what was going on. And then, I had different procedures, which then caused other things to happen. It was just like the ripple effect, right? So then I'm going to these doctors, and they don't know what's going on. And they're like, basically taking a shot in the dark. Like, well, we don't know what's going on. And they're trying to push pills, which I'm not a big pill taker anyway. But for me, it was more about, well, I'm not going to take those, because I was looking at the side effects and I was like, I don't want that on top of what I'm already dealing with. It just wasn't worth it to me. And it's funny because, you know, people are just so adamant about listening to doctors and they forget that the doctors are humans too. And sometimes they do make mistakes or miss stuff or whatever, or maybe they're having a bad day or whatever it is. They're not perfect. They're human just like we are. Yes, they have more schooling and stuff like that. But how many people have you heard about that go to doctors and they go to like 3 doctors and they don't find anything, then they find that 4th doctor and they figure it out. Like whatever was wrong with that person, they finally found the right doctor. So basically that's what I was doing. I was going and going. And they couldn't figure it out. And then it got to the point where they started telling me they thought maybe it was in my head. And I was like, wait, what? Like I'm physically feeling pain, you know, and I've never had this pain before. And now it's constant. Like, for example, just so you guys know how bad this pain was, some very close friends of mine had their bachelorette party in Las Vegas when all this was happening around that same time, later that year, 2015. And when we went to Vegas, I couldn't walk. I literally had to rent like the old people scooters, you know? That's how I had to get around Vegas because I couldn't walk because it would just start hurting so bad. So once I basically talked to all these doctors, they started telling me it's in my head and stuff, and then I refused the pills. I literally had one doctor tell me, so back up a little bit. One of the things that happened after I had one of the procedures, I had an upper and lower scope done. After they did the upper scope, I started having problems with my throat, swallowing solid food. I would start choking. So I was basically on a liquid diet because I got down to, I think, like 90 pounds because I could not eat solid food or I'd start choking. And then they couldn't figure out what was going on with that. So that's a whole nother story. But so I was going to doctors, wouldn't take the medicine, and it basically got to the point about my throat. I was more concerned about just eating. I was like, man, I'll deal with the pain. I need to be able to eat. I need nutrition in my body. And I remember going to this one doctor, and I asked her, I said, you know, would you refer me to, I think it was called like a speech therapist or something. They work with people like after they've had problems swallowing, like they do different things like exercises to get you used to swallowing and stuff like that again. So anyway, I had asked that person, that doctor, if she would refer me, to which she said, if you don't take this pill or try these pills, I'm not doing that. And then I fired her. I basically said, I guess we're done here then.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know you can do that to a doctor. Like you don't have to go with what they say. Like you are your own advocate. They're there to help you, but you know what's best for you. You know your body better than anybody, and you know when something's wrong. And when someone's not listening to you, you continue searching for the person who will. And that's what I did. So after I did that, then I started thinking about alternatives. All right, Western medicine is not working for me. What can I do alternatively? At the time, I was first getting into massages and stuff like that, and I was going to somebody who also did energy work. So I had my first energy Reiki session, or I think it was healing touch at that time. They're pretty similar, Reiki and healing touch. But I had a session, I started noting some improvements, and I was like, well, this is kind of crazy. Like, you know, something that I never have heard of before is helping. And it's energy, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about any of that.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, but it works. That's all that mattered to me. It was making a difference. So I continued doing that, and it helps so much. I was like, I have to learn this. So I traveled to Asheville, North Carolina, and that was a long trip. It was a great trip. And I trained under Reiki Master there, and I learned levels 1 and 2 of Reiki. And then came back here. Even then, though, I was only using Reiki on myself. Like, yes, it was helping me, and I was taking care of myself, doing Reiki on myself. And then when it started improving, and I was kind of talking about it, people were not a lot, because we are in the Bible Belt, and I was like, how are people going to feel about me sharing this? I mean, I've had people tell me it's voodoo or woo-woo or whatever,
I've
like
heard
all different things.
Voodoo,
Yeah.
woo-woo, hippie shit.
Yeah,
You're
voodoo
like,
also, and I'm just like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I know of it, but I don't know anything about it, so no, that's not what it is.
yeah.
So anyway, so I came back here, and I started, you know, I'm still doing it on myself, and then maybe a couple close friends and family I was doing Reiki on, and then they started seeing improvements. And I think that was kind of when I realized, when I started feeling better, and then their lives were improving, I was like, this is bigger. Like, this is bigger than just what I went through. And I really 100% believe that the reason I went through what I went through is so that I could step into my purpose of what I do now, because I'm able to help so many people. So for those of you that don't know what Reiki is, I know I've talked all this about it and you don't know what it is. It's a Japanese relaxation technique that promotes healing the body. So it's energy work. So it works with your energy because we're all energy. Everything is made up of energy. And you have
Yes.
7 main chakras in your body. So think of like a wheel at different places in your body. They're like energy centers. And they can spin too fast or too slow or not at all and be blocked. And the purpose of Reiki is to kind of balance those things out and clear out any negative or stagnant energy. So for an example, the mind-body connection is huge. So if you've been through a trauma of any type, a lot of times if you're not processing the trauma, it can actually get stored in your body. And there's plenty of studies on this. German New Medicine, like, is one of the good ones that you can like kind of research. But there's just so much out there. Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of my favorites. There's also Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about epigenetics and stuff like that. Those are just a couple if you guys want to look up. Like these are neuroscientists and scientists. Like there's proof behind it. It's not just
Exactly.
But so anyway, so if you go through a trauma and you don't process it, there's this chance that the energy can get stagnant and store somewhere in your body, in your nervous system, because you have parasympathetic, sympathetic, and autonomic nervous system. So when you go through a trauma, it triggers your nervous system to go into fight, flight, or freeze. And so that's what we're talking about. Like when you go through a trauma, it triggers that energy and emotions in your body, just like it's happening again. Even if you were to think about it right now and it was something that happened 20 years ago, your body's going to react like it's happening right now. So the point of people coming in for Reiki sessions is to help clear out that energy, basically, to heal it, to release it, to let it go. So that's what we do with that. And if you've maybe heard of acupuncture, that's another way to describe it. You know, in acupuncture, they work with the meridian system. So you have little points all over your body that correlate to different organs and different stuff like that. And so when they use the needle, they'll put it in a certain meridian point. And the point of that is to get the chi or your life force energy to flow and be balanced through your body. Reiki is the same thing, except it's hands-on. There's no needles involved.
Yeah.
But it's the same principle. You want to clear out your energy system and help balance it out. So I hope that kind of answers questions about it. But if you have other questions, post them on here too.
Oh, yeah.
If I didn't do it.
Yeah, always. That's why I love the comment section, because people can just post whatever, even on the replay.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll answer them.
It's funny how we neglect the energetic part of ourselves, because we're very physical. We live in this physical world, but really
3D.
we're mostly energy. Like when you look down like at quantum physics and you break it down to like the molecules and the atoms, like it's mostly space and energy and less matter. And yet we live like focused on all the physical things. And that just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like when you really sit and think about it. Let's see. Oh, Dan had a good question. It says, can you heal someone on a live, or does it have to be in person? So that's a great question for you to answer. Like, because I know energy doesn't have, you can't contain it. Energy's everywhere. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, so like literally if one night we wanted to do just a Reiki healing session on here, we could do that.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So, like when I'm not coughing and like interrupting everything. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
That'd be awesome.
So yes, Dan, you can do it live. You don't have to do it in person. I actually do sessions with people all over the place, all over the world, all over the country. And we can do it via live, like Zoom or Skype. Or sometimes we'll just do it on the phone if they don't have that. Like some older people don't use those things. So I'll just do a phone call and I'll just talk with them. Or sometimes you don't even have to talk on the phone at all. I'll be like, hey, I'm starting at this time. This is what time I'm going to be done. And I just usually try to get them to relax in a quiet space while I'm working so they can pay attention.
That's awesome. How many distance sessions have you done so far? Do you
a lot?
Like a lot, like over 50 or like 100 or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
because
awesome.
So here's the thing. I do the sessions like, you know, when somebody wants to pay for a distance session, I do that. But then I do distance healing all the time just for, you know, if a friend's going through something or a family member's going through something or a stranger. Like I also like to do stuff like when I'm doing a healing session on a person. So that person's only going to use that energy for whatever is their highest good. I can't control, you know, what their body decides to do with it, but I am the vessel for it, essentially. So what I just say is I'm like, any extra Reiki that this person isn't wanting to receive, I'd like to send it to so-and-so. Or sometimes I just Reiki the world. That's what I say. If this person isn't willing, whatever energy this person isn't willing to receive, please just send it to the rest of the world. And so do that.
I like that. Send Reiki to the world because the world needs it.
Yes. Okay, we got questions. Hold on.
Yeah.
Dan said I would be down for a healing session. Okay, PM me. We'll talk about it. And then he also said, does it drain your body after doing a session? Drain your energy? No. If you're doing Reiki the correct way, it will not drain your own energy, because what I am doing is just opening up to be a vessel for the energy to flow through me from God, from source, from universe, whatever it is to you. And I'm just letting it flow through me and out my chakras, and I put the hand positions, that's where the Reiki is going. But Reiki is also intelligent energy, so it's going to go wherever it's needed. Just because I'm directing it there, you could need it in your, I don't know, your knee or something, and we're on your shoulder. It doesn't matter. It's going to go where it's needed. In which Omar kind of asked the same question, to use your energy. No. So the way I explain it to people, here's how I explain it to people in the Bible Belt, the explanation I came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems to work with people. So when you go to church and someone is sick or hurt or whatever, and they go up to the front of the church and the pastor or people lay their hands on them, right? Do you think the pastor and the people are the ones doing the healing? No. They're opening up to God, which is who it would be for them, or whatever church they're in. It doesn't matter. It's energy, it's love. That's all Reiki is.
Exactly.
They're opening up to be the vessel and to channeling it into this person. So I hope that kind of explains it. I'm just a vessel. And when you learn Reiki, so I teach levels 1 and 2 also. And when you learn Reiki, you get attunements. So you get attuned to a certain energy and certain symbols to be able to do things. So like when I do a distance session on somebody, I use certain symbols to be able to do that, to connect myself energetically with that person. But you can do that. I mean, we all have the ability to do Reiki in a sense, because, I mean, think about the power of thought and prayer. That's all energy, that's love. And you can just literally think about somebody and just be sending them good energy. So it's about the same as that.
Yeah.
Is there bad and good energy? Yes, Dan, there is.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's duality, it's contrast. There can't be one without the other. But the good thing about Reiki is it is pure, just good energy. No negative things can come from it.
Yeah.
Like I Reiki animals, I go do. So I don't just do Reiki sessions on people. I do them on humans. I do them on dogs, on cats.
You're probably
Someone's
about
mentioned me doing verses. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. Food, water.
Oh, you told me about food. I try to do that sometimes, because I will admit we do still eat some meat. We're trying to lessen that, but I'm like, just there's that battle there. You're like, I don't want to eat meat, but I kind of am. But you can Reiki it. Hopefully you can clear any energy that may have been there for whatever that animal went through at that time, and all of that. So I remember you told me that. So I try to do that. When I eat meat.
And don't feel bad. I mean, people eat meat. Like, yes, I'm a vegetarian, but that doesn't mean I expect everyone else on the planet to be a vegetarian. Yeah. Because honestly, for some people, that doesn't work well with their bodies. Just like how meat wasn't working well for my body. That's why I kind of cut it out. So I don't judge people. If you want to eat meat, eat meat. But I do suggest that you kind of bless it or do Reiki over it. Yeah. Because of the things that you just mentioned. Whatever that animal went through, you don't want to. I mean, think about it. If you eat an animal and it was terrified right before it passed away, and then that stores in the body, right?
Right.
And then you're not consuming the body. So that's why a lot of people bless their food and stuff like that. It's the same principle. Just ask, that this animal and energy be at peace, and it just help nourish your body and only give you the good and for your highest good. Stuff like that.
That's good. That makes me feel better too, because there's a lot of there's so much guilt in this world too. Like, you're supposed to do it this way, or don't do it that way, or blah blah blah. And it's really we're all just trying to do our best at any given time. So it's good. And that's why I love you always remind me of these things, because I tend to be self-deprecating a little bit, and I judge myself hard. And so it's nice to have somebody that's hey, don't be so hard on yourself. And then I'm oh yeah, that's right, okay. And then you can breathe a little bit easier, because it's rough out here sometimes.
And I've been in your position. I used to be that way. So that's the reason why I share these things with people. It's don't judge yourself. The world is harsh enough sometimes it is. Oh my God. Don't be your biggest critic. Don't be that next person, because you're the one in your head all the time. And if you're filling it with all these negative things, that's your self-talk. Your
Oh yeah.
thoughts are super important.
Oh, and it's
And
just
that's not
always
even
like
the stuff I've talked about.
it's just talking
Yeah.
like constantly blah blah blah. Like if it's like blah 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 blah. Luckily, I've been through enough things in my life that that voice, it's getting, instead of being negative immediately, when I just start being negative, it's like, hey now, like stop that. Like, no, you
I
are
do that.
awesome. So
Yeah.
it's like training a muscle. And
It really,
the
it's a
more
mental muscle.
what do they call it? Neuroplasticity. Like you can
Yes.
train your
That's what I
brain.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I sculpt brains. Really.
It is a real thing. It's not a woo
Yeah.
woo voodoo whatever. It's like real science that just tends to be neglected in the mainstream because we're so focused on the physical. But the energetic is just as real, if not, I mean, more powerful than the physical. And I mean, the more I learn about that every day, the more it just fascinates me. And I have more and more questions and I read more and more things, and you start thinking differently, and
Yep.
you start living outside the box, and you start to view things that you used to view a different way. It's really, I call it living outside the matrix, and it's a little bit intense sometimes, but it's really awesome too. I wouldn't change it for anything.
And there's a good, if any of you guys have Netflix, if you haven't seen it, I mean, I post about it all the time because it's one of my top 5 favorite
Yeah.
documentaries. But on Netflix right now, there's a documentary called Heal,
Yes.
Heal.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. And it talks about all the stuff that me and Morgan are talking about, but it's really great, and it just shows you the mind-body connection, how huge it is. And that's just like a good starting point. There's also another one, I believe it's on, I want to say Amazon Prime. I think you can get it. But it's called Emotion. I think it's actually now it's like Emotion 2.0. That's another really good one that talks about the mind-body connection and all that stuff.
Okay. I posted
the exact things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, I'm on my computer. I can at least do that.
Click the
That
link,
doesn't take my
people.
voice. Yeah. Heal. I watched that the other day.
What'd you think?
It was awesome. I mean, you're just sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, like just awesome. I say that word so much, but it really is. You just,
Words are funny.
they are funny.
They mean different things to different people. That's something else I learned when I was doing NLP.
Yeah.
That was one of the exercises you do. They ask you a word, and then you write down 3 to 5 things that come to your mind when you think about that word, right? And we're in a room of like 100+ people.
Oh yeah.
And then after everyone's done, they'll say, okay, they'll pick somebody random, like, all right, tell us what your 3 to 5 things were. And then they'll have people raise their hand to see who connected and then who didn't. And then it's funny to see how different words are to people.
Yeah. I will say that was a big issue, like in our marriage, just like the definition of a word, like miscommunication because of one stupid word. And you're like, wait, what? Like, are you not hearing what I'm saying? It's like, are you not hearing? But it's just like one word, how we define things, how we view things. And yeah, language is weird, but also amazing because it does allow us to communicate. But you have to be aware that there's 2 sides to that. Like you need to understand what the other person is trying to communicate and not just focus on like the one word or one sentence or phrase or whatever. Like you got to go beyond that. You got to go into the energy behind the word.
Yes, super important.
Yeah.
And it goes back to like the thoughts in our head. The things that we're saying to ourselves in our head are the most important thing, even more so than what we're saying outside of our bodies to other people. Our self-talk is the biggest thing that if you change that, it literally will change your life. And I can testify to that because
Me too.
I've done it.
Oh yeah.
So I would just say, like how you said, the first step is being aware. So yeah, first step is awareness. Catch yourself. Next time, I think people would be amazed if they just catch themselves, how they talk to themselves. Like next time you say something negative to yourself, just be aware of it. Just catch yourself like, hey, like, why did I think? I do that all the time. It doesn't mean you're never going to have negative thoughts. Like we're humans. We have resources in the head, and we're
Shit's gonna go down sometimes. And it'll be like, this sucks. One of my favorite things that has to do with words and like kind of switching your mindset is how people, they say, I don't have time. Like, oh, I didn't have time for that. If you switch that to say, I didn't make it a priority, totally flips it on you. You're like, oh God, I didn't have time to play with my kids. I didn't make playing with my kids a priority. And you're like, oh God, that hurts. But that's the actual truth. And that gets you to actually focus on what you need to change and how you need to prioritize things. So stop saying, I don't have time, because you do
Because you
have
have the same
time.
amount of time as anybody else in this world. The most successful people still have 24 hours in a day.
Time's abundant. It's just here. It's always here. You didn't prioritize it. That will change. That's a huge mindset to change, and it will change a lot for you.
Yeah. So that starts with also just asking yourself, what do you want in life? Like, what is it that you don't have right now that you really want? And then that's how you start figuring out what those priorities are. Like you said, like, okay, well, I want to do this. Why haven't I done it? And then you make time to do that thing. And then it's being consistent, creating the habit of doing it. Because obviously you can't do it one time and it's like set in gold, right?
Kind of. Darn it. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. It's not.
No.
It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah.
I know.
And that comes back to thoughts too, because like neural pathways in our brain, neural pathways, it's like when you learn to ride a bike, right? That first time you ride the bike, you haven't got it all just figured out. But the more you ride your bike over and over and over, the better you get. The stronger that neural pathway gets, to the point where one day you get on your bike and you don't even have to think about moving the pedals, it's natural. Same thing with driving, right? So that works with our thoughts as well, though. If we have negative thoughts and we're saying them repetitively over and over and over in ourselves, we're just strengthening that neural pathway. So by switching the mindset, we're actually creating a new neural pathway, and the more you use it, that old neural pathway will die off, and this will become your new normal. That's neuroplasticity. That's changing your brain. That's changing your thought patterns and everything like that. And then when you start changing those things, it literally will change your world, because like you said, once you change your perspective, how you interact in certain situations or respond to certain situations changes, because you've literally changed your mind and your thinking process.
It's amazing the things that you will notice, because it really does change everything, because it is your perspective. And like, that's all you have to experience the world, is your perspective, just how you're viewing things from inside your body, through your eyes or your ears or touch or whatever, like, and just how you're processing that, and that inner voice. You have to control that inner voice, and those inner thoughts, because that's how you perceive the world.
Yes, those are your filters.
Yeah.
How you filter the world. That's something in the NLP training that I took, that's what they talk about, is those exact things, your senses, how you take it, how you develop certain patterns and what we call programs, because you pick up a lot of your programs from early on in life. They say, I think it's 0 to 7, your brain is in a certain, I don't remember which wavelength it is, but it's like in the hypnosis state. So it's just constantly absorbing whatever, because your subconscious mind is always recording, right? Even when you're not fully aware that it is. So you're picking up programs from your parents, whoever raised you, school, whoever you're around, things that you see and absorb. We actually pick up a lot of our programs from all of that. And then we don't realize we've taken these things on and think that's just how we are. But if you, as an adult, look back, I'm sure a lot of you guys watching could look at, oh my God, that's where I picked up this program. My mom's like this or whatever. And if you're not that way, you attract that in a partner, just FYI. So if there's something you don't like, and a program that you have that you don't like, I suggest you change it, or else it's going to be attracted to you regardless. That's just
interesting.
how it goes.
That's interesting.
What did Dan say? I have chronic mid-back pain. I've been to tons of doctors, and make a long story short, I have degenerative, oh my gosh, I could not say that word.
Degenerative
disc disease. Can Reiki heal that? So Reiki would help with that. I think the biggest thing is getting to the emotional root cause. That's what I do with people. It's not just a Band-Aid. Like, we want to see, why is your back hurting? I wish I would have had my books in here, but I don't.
That's okay. Next time I'll have books.
I was going to tell him about those 2 books that I have that you can actually look up the emotional root cause of something. So I don't have that. So you'll have to tune in next week, Dan, when I have them. But yes, Reiki can help that. Reiki helps with lots of things. I mean, I've got so many Reiki stories that, like, they'll blow your mind, honestly.
Yeah.
The things that I've done with Reiki, things that people will just don't think were possible.
You should share one every week, anonymously, of course, but share, just so people can hear, because people need to hear the stories of these miracles, or what are supposedly miracles. Just these things happen, that energy work helps people. It really does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. And so it not only does that, it's So what's different than me than just most Reiki practitioners, right? So I'm a Reiki master, so that means I can train, I can teach it. So I'm the highest level there is of that. The difference where I'm different than a lot of people in my field is I don't just stop there. Like I am always continuously learning new tools because I want to have a toolbox that's full of so much stuff that it does not matter what person comes to me with what problem, we're going to figure it out and we're going to heal it.
You're like, let me look at my toolbox here. What have I got? Oh, here we go.
Because
Yeah.
it's not a one size fits all, you know, something might not work for somebody else, but then it works for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to be able to have tools. And here's the other thing, guys. I don't have a huge ego. Like I'm probably the most laid back person. You can ask Morgan.
That's important though. I mean, you got to watch out for those ego people.
If I don't know what's going on, yeah, like if I don't know what's going on or I can't figure it out, I point people in the right direction or to direct them to the right person that can help them if I can't.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, especially doctors and stuff, is the ego with it. And I'm just here to help people. And that doesn't mean necessarily that it's always going to be me. I can't tell you how many clients, you know, that have come in. I've actually had a client come in. It helped her Reiki session and stuff. But then we start talking and we start talking about like her kid, right? And her kid's not even there. And we start talking and he didn't even come in. He was like a little kid, like toddler-ish age. And she starts describing these symptoms and all this stuff. And I was like, I directed her to this chiropractor that I go to all the time. She specializes with kids and all this stuff. This kid was on a ton of medicine. He wasn't thriving, wasn't able to eat and stuff like that. And so I sent them over, and this freaking chiropractor ended up changing this kid's life because she found out what was going on with him.
That's awesome.
She does applied kinesiology, which if people don't know about that, it's muscle testing and shit. But this was a kid, you know, that couldn't verbalize what was going on, so she was using a lot of muscle testing and stuff like that to figure it out. She figured out what it is. He's like on no medication now, and he's thriving, and he's fine, perfectly healthy.
That's awesome.
So that's just one example. Like, and that fills my heart. Like, I don't have to be the one doing the healing. Like, I'm here to guide. I can help people. But regardless, I'm just here to help people heal. That's my purpose here.
That's awesome.
So Denise said, can it help someone quit smoking or help with addiction? So we would work more so on the emotional healing sessions that I do for that, to work on what the connection is in your brain to those certain things. So we use addiction just in general. So you can be addicted to obviously cigarettes, gambling, food is a big one that a lot of people, you know, that's more socially acceptable. Sex. Did I say drugs already? I don't know if I said that one.
I don't think you said drugs. No, drugs, alcohol.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many things. TV, social media. I mean, we could keep going on. You could be addicted to getting
like literally anything to be addicted to. Yeah.
And it's because of the response that it's triggering in your body when you get that thing. So therefore, that means something is lacking in your body. And I think a lot of that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is the thought process. Like, there's something going on internally in your mind that's making you think you have to have this thing to feel better. So yes, it can help with those things, but it's actually getting to the root cause. Well, what does this mean to you? Like, basically making a map of your mind, trying to figure out why you need that. Like, what does that serve for you? What is it doing for you? When did this start? Because a lot of things like addictions or even pains. Let's talk about pain, because that's something I went through. When did this pain start, right? If you can go back and trace back around the time in someone's life, like you can usually pinpoint when it started and then see other things that were going on in their life. That's the thing that needs to be worked on most of the time. Sometimes it's a little deeper than that, but CBD can help stop smoking. I love CBD.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people
both
have,
do.
Yeah, we do. We're both advocates for it. And yeah, people do use CBD to assist them with, you know, helping them stop smoking. So, and again, that gets into like plant-based things. Like I love
natural.
Yeah, natural. I mean, I truly believe, and I know you believe it too, that the earth has given us everything we need. I mean, if we would just be in tune with Mother Earth and realize she has what we need and understand how to use it, and how energy and like how all these things coincide and work together, like that's how we heal the world. But people don't know. Yeah, yeah, and then like we are doing now, just sharing your story and just letting people know, like, yes, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to like try Reiki for something, or chiropractic, or CBD, or cannabis, or like just look into it, ask questions. And with these things, like, you try it, there's not, like Reiki, there's not side effects to it. If it doesn't work, okay, well, maybe it's not the right Reiki person, because then, I mean, we could get into a whole different thing on, you need to be aware of the energy that people purred off. You got to find the right people, but never stop trying to find what works for you. And natural and alternative treatments, for me and my experience, are, you know, superior to other things. We have to treat the energetic part of ourself.
Yes.
And the natural part of ourself, that, I mean, we, you know, we're made from earth, from the universe. And we neglect that part of ourselves so much, and we want to put band-aids on things.
We want a quick fix. That's the problem with a lot of people.
Yeah, we want instant gratification. Instant gratification. And, you know, your body doesn't get out of balance in one day. Unless maybe you're like a car wreck or something, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, something trauma-wise.
Right. Good, but overall, like, like just mental problems and like physical and weight issues and addictions, all these things have happened over time. And you're going to have to take some time to try alternative things, look into things that work, and give it time to work. But I fully believe that when you find that, it will change your life. I mean, we see it every day with all different things. I can vouch, you know, my husband and I, we both see Ashton, and she does the tapping on him, and just the change in him just from the tapping sessions he's had, like maybe 2 or 3, has been incredible. Just getting to the emotional root causes of what's caused some of his issues. And I mean, I've experienced it firsthand, the change in him, and I fully 100% believe it. And I've noticed how it's changed our life. That's why Ashton and I do this. Like, people need to know about these things. It helps. And I can't say enough about being grateful to you for what you do, and like your journey and everything you had to go on through your journey to get to this point. It wasn't easy for you, but you did it, and here you are, and that's how this works.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, so in the sessions that she's talking about with her husband, like, that's when I was doing a lot of the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming work, rewiring the mind, how he's viewing certain things. Like, that's when it's awesome to see the changes. I work with a lot of vets. So a lot of vets come in, you know, that have PTSD, stuff like that. And it's crazy to see the change immediately, like when they get off the table, and they just look different. Yeah. Like, their faces look different. They just carry themselves different. It's like the coolest thing. And it just makes me, like, I feel all warm in my heart chakra. Yeah. Whenever I think about it, because that's really how I feel. Like, when they get up and they just feel so good, they're like, oh my God, like, what did you just do? And I'm like, you did it. I just guided you through it. You know? He's described it as like a weight lifted almost. That's what so many people say. That's so crazy. Like, it's a physical weight, but it's an energetic weight that feels physical. On your shoulders, on your back. Yeah, like, and that's where you carry. You don't even realize what baggage you're carrying around all the time. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Yeah, they say it feels like a weight's been lifted, or they just feel lighter. They're like, I don't know. And they'll like kind of like do this thing like moving your body, like it's a new body. And you're like they're trying to figure out why, like, maybe if I stand this way, like, different, I don't know. Here. Yeah, it's just funny. It's pretty cool. What did Dan say? I agree. I think a lot of negative energy gets into people's bodies, causing pain and disease, but we don't know how to get rid of it or heal. Big Pharma will never heal you. 100%. Yep. So a lot of people, I mean, that could be a whole nother episode in itself. Empaths. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So empathic people being able to absorb other people's energies or pick up, because we have so many abilities that people aren't even aware of. It's crazy. But yes, what you're saying basically is those people who pick up on the energy, they're not protecting themselves. They're absorbing other people. Because to be honest, people, and me, people don't realize how powerful we are as energetic beings. Like, you could be at a stoplight and Joe Schmo pulls up next to you and he's like, and like hooks into your solar plexus and starts like draining your energy, not even meaning to. He doesn't even know he's doing it. Yeah. But that's how easy it can happen. Or at the line in the grocery store or post office or whatever. That's how that stuff happens. So if you guys don't know what an empath is, we'll do a whole nother episode sometime
That's
on
it.
that.
That'd
Like
be a good one.
talking about it,
Yeah.
maybe giving tips and tricks and how you can find out if you are. A lot of people that are empaths usually have high anxiety.
Yeah.
Stress.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because they don't realize they're picking up other people's stuff and they're thinking it's their own.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's hard to differentiate the two and like, oh, I'm feeling this because of this person.
Yeah.
It's not really how
Then
I
you
feel
think
or
you're
whatever.
crazy because you're like, what the heck is that? And then you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a real thing. And I know, like, before I like really knew it, you're like, oh, empath, like, and a lot of people are like, oh, so you're just an empath. Like, they make fun of it, like it's a made up like millennial thing, and you're like, no, it's like a
Well,
thing.
it's so mainstream now. It's people like to throw around certain words, and empaths happens to be one of them.
Yeah,
But it's a real thing
it is
also.
real. Yeah,
So
it's very real. It's very much a
like
struggle.
I used to have bad social anxiety, right? Like, and I'm talking like crowds, and I couldn't figure out why, and that was even since I was like a kid.
Oh, that's just a
I'd get,
bombardment
like,
of energy. It's just like,
oh
and you're
yeah, I'd
like,
get like sweaty armpits, like clammy hands, and
I
just this
know,
weird feeling in my stomach. I'm like, I just want to leave. I just want to leave, and I didn't know why.
I
And
need
I'm
to
like
get
always
out of
looking for
here.
the exit, like.
Yeah, yeah,
So I learned to protect my energy, and now that I do that, it doesn't bother me at all. I could be in a room full of
yeah,
100,000 people,
yeah,
strangers, whatever, and it wouldn't bother me because now I know how to protect myself.
yeah. That's important. I wrote that down as a note. So I'm like, empath episode.
Yes, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So if you guys have things that you want to talk about on here, just put in the comments or
Oh, yeah.
PM either one of us. Like, hey, would you guys cover this topic? Because this is your space too. This is why we have this, is because we want to be an open space to talk about these things, and maybe it's something you don't even know necessarily how or where to begin with it. So you just mention the topic and we'll talk about it, and then you can interact in here just like you're having a real-time conversation with us, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's important. And again, that's why we want to do this, because sometimes, like I was before, like you just don't know. You have a thought and you're like, I have no idea who I can talk to about this. I literally have no idea, because if I ask anyone, they're going to think I'm insane, and they're going to be like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. So that we
and
want
then you
this
start going
space.
through those thoughts.
Yeah, and then you create that anxiety, and then you're like exhausted, and you're like, oh my God, like something's wrong.
I'm just gonna
with
keep
me.
this to myself.
Yeah, and then you keep it bottled up, and then you get like pain in your shoulder or whatever because you're bottling up some emotion. It's like it's a whole ripple effect of just shit. So this is a space to just ask any weird question, and
I don't care how out there, like we'll talk about it.
seriously, I believe in
Like
aliens,
we're so
you guys.
open.
There's aliens like flying around us. You know, there's aliens. So here, Morgan believes in aliens. You can't get much weirder than that, okay?
Is it weird though? Because we're in a universe, and if we really think we're the only people, we are some stuck up assholes. Just saying, we live in a huge universe.
Then there are, because that's my exact thing. I'm like, we're Earth. Do you know how tiny Earth is compared to the seeable universe? Like, yeah.
Have you seen that picture that NASA posted, and it like shows all the other, like it's the biggest picture ever.
And it looks
Have you
like
seen
an
it?
eye. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that one, and there's another one where they start and they zoom out and keep zooming and zooming, and then it like shows all the like it's crazy, and it makes you like, oh yeah, you're here.
I know, and you're like,
you're this little tiny speck.
I know, like you're tinier than a speck. You're tinier than like a speck of sand, and like like a beach. Like it's insane. So yeah, nothing's too weird. Nothing's too weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk about energy. We could talk about magnetic poles. We can talk about all that kind of stuff. We can talk about crystals. Some people like crystals.
Ooh, I love crystals. I have like a billion around. I'm like looking at all my crystal babies here. We talk about cannabis. Talk about, oh my God, like what, like documentaries we've seen.
Yeah. Books. I love books. I'm a reader. Books? I read so many books.
Yes. Oh, that'd be a good one. Like our favorite books. And like I'm just writing things down. Yeah.
I mean, I got a pretty long list, but I could like shorten it to get my favorite 10 maybe. I could get it down to 10.
You're like maybe.
But like the ones that you really need to listen to or read, like I could get them down to probably 10.
That'd be cool. Oh, and I liked I was gonna put like Reiki, like a Reiki session type thing. That would be cool.
And the NLP, we can do a whole episode on that. I mean,
oh yeah, because you could totally do that.
Watching?
Yeah, you could totally do that. Let's see.
What did he say?
He says, "What's up with the third eye in your symbol and the triangles?" Off topic.
Okay. Well, it's not off topic. It's perfectly
Yeah,
on
it's
topic.
perfect. Everything's on topic. Yeah.
The whole reason we call this Awaken is our purpose in this is just to help awaken the masses
Yep.
to
The third eye,
universal
right
higher
there.
consciousness. So your third eye is right here.
Yep.
Okay. The all-seeing, all-knowing, whatever, intuition. It's all right here. So that's the reason for the third eye, and that has to do with intuition and being awake. So opening your third eye, that's what we're talking about.
Yep.
And the whole reason for the triangle is because same like with my business, Transcend Wellness, like we have a triangle, and that represents balance and mind, body, spirit. It all is connected, and that's wholesome living. And I know it looks like I'm doing the Illuminati, Rockefeller.
We're not Illuminati. We're not Illuminati, guys.
Not at all, but it just made me think of like Jay-Z, but like, yo, Hova.
Just because they steal like sacred geometry symbols doesn't mean like the actual symbols of sacred geometry are evil. No, we're not Illuminati.
Here's here, it means about balance in life.
Yes, exactly.
And mind, body, spirit, and like I said, the third eye opening, the pineal. Yep, he already said it. Okay. So he got it. So, and if you guys don't know about that, that could be a whole nother episode.
Oh, yeah. Egyptian stuff, man. Those pyramids, they did not build that like people dragging those big ass bricks around. Like, no.
You know what I wonder?
What?
Like in Egypt and stuff, like, so the Sphinx was like buried basically from here down, right? Until they excavated it or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, it's like a giant sandbox. What else is under the sand we don't even know about that's been covered?
I want to go on an expedition and just like dig around. I was reading, I don't know if it was in Egypt, but I was reading a book and they were talking about how these people went out to, was it the Gobi Desert maybe? I'd have to go back and check. But there was a whole, like under the sand, a whole ancient, super high-tech city, like just buried under the sand, and they like excavated it. And I'm like, there's so much hidden out there. And I think I've read Atlantis, like one of the new theories on Atlantis is it was in the middle of the desert too, and like you can like see like an outline of something, of course. So I love anything conspiracy theories, like everything conspiracy theory. I love it.
Bring your tinfoil hat and we will talk about it, people.
Oh, we should do one where we
just wear the tinfoil, look crazy. That'd be so funny.
I'm writing that down too. That's hilarious. Like,
yeah, I mean, the world is so unexplored, like the earth, like, our oceans, we don't even know, like, not even the oceans though, like even land, there's still stuff being discovered. They're still finding stuff, out in like jungles, like, I don't know if it was Mayan or I can't remember which one, but not too long ago, like just a couple of years ago, they found this whole another ancient city in the middle of this jungle that they had no idea was there.
Oh my gosh. That's like my dream, to like stumble upon some ancient thing and you're like, oh my God, what is this? And then I'm like, how do we keep this a secret from the other people that are going to come steal things from it?
That's another thing I was going to say. How sacred is it? Like, when you go, I travel a lot, so like going to places and I like seeing these types of things, and it pisses me off when I see people graffitiing on stuff.
I know. You're like, stop it. You're gonna curse yourself or something. You're gonna like have a curse on you.
Like, come on,
graffiti
like just be here. Your energy, your energetic signature, anywhere you've ever gone, you're leaving a part of that there. So like you're here, you got your signature. Don't have to actually sign the freaking rock. Okay.
I know. People, they just don't know. They just want to be, I don't know, cool or whatever.
True. You don't know what you don't know.
I know. I love the one of there's a Netflix like 5 series thing about the pyramids in Egypt and how they're, people think they were tombs. They weren't tombs. I think people were buried there, but they're like energy centers, and it used the water. I think the water from the Nile River helped power it, or the power from the water with the pyramid energy combined, like did something. But like the pyramids are not just tombs. Do what?
They're missing a lot of the capstones, some of them.
Yeah.
Like, what goes on the top of the pyramid. And they say it was made out of something different than what the rest of the pyramid was.
I know. Pyramids are fascinating. There's so much fascinating stuff out there.
Yeah. I mean, pyramids, think about that. Think about all the pyramid types that are all over the world, right? And they say they've created some type of grid, because even back then, how did these different civilizations know about these pyramids? And if you look at pictures, they're all so very similar. And it's like, they didn't have the internet. How'd they know about it, right?
I know. It's like,
I think they had a system. That's just my perception.
There definitely was. There definitely was.
Like the cuts were too perfect.
I
for
know.
handmade tools. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're chiseling this huge hunk of rock
I
and
know.
it's perfect. It's perfect. Like, I don't know.
What we
There's a
learned
lot
in
of
school about the pyramids is not the actual truth. Like there's like way more truth than what we learned. So yeah.
You're taught what they want you to know.
I know.
So Dan said, I will definitely be tuning in to these episodes. This is the stuff they don't want you to know about.
I love how you use
100%.
they. I do that too. I refer to they all the time. Like, they don't want us to know.
Quotes.
They're shutting down Facebook. They're attacking my throat, so I can't talk. Like,
Yeah.
I know all about they. That's funny.
So this is how my brain works. As soon as you said that, Dan, this is how I flipped it. This is the stuff we want people to know.
Oh, see,
and
you're so good at that. You're so
take
good
they
at
out
that.
of the picture completely, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I don't got time for they. I don't have time for those people.
I have to work on that. I do.
Lisa.
I focus a lot on they, and I get into those panic moments sometimes where I'm like, oh my God, and I just get, and I think part of it is because I'm a mom and I have kids to protect, and so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I do have, again, what I'm thankful for you is like, how do you flip it to focus on the love part versus the fear part? Because when you live in fear, because it's neuroplasticity too.
Yes.
Because when you live in fear, you're just creating more fear, which is what I don't want. But I at least have an awareness of that.
Yeah, no, you're not blind to it. You know it's real.
Yeah.
But you're not focusing on either. You're focusing on what you do want.
Right. Exactly. That's what we want you to know. Perfect. Yes. We will talk
Here's
about
the other
things
thing
we want to share.
Is that we wouldn't know what we wanted had we not had contrast. So because those things exist, they actually show us, I don't want that. So what can I create that's the opposite of that? And that's why we're here doing this, because this is what we want to create.
Yes.
And we have to have contrast to know that.
Exactly.
That's my perspective.
That's that balance, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, the balance. Let's just focus on the good parts, on the love parts.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean the other doesn't exist. It's just not what we're choosing to focus on.
Exactly. You're so smart. I love it.
Thanks. I like learning. I think we're all smart. I think it's just a remembering, like reminding myself. Like, this is all knowing. We all already know this. It's just like unlearning all the bullshit programs we've picked up in our lives and like coming back to true essence and remembering who we really are, why we're really here, what we're really made of, because we're amazing, to be honest. I mean, I believe, and no one has to believe this. This is just my belief. I'm speaking for myself. I believe we are all God. I believe we're all parts of God. Therefore, we are God. We are extensions of source, of God, of universe, whatever the word is for you. Therefore, we're all connected. And
I agree.
I just believe we're super powerful. And the more that people can get on board with one another and we start connecting with one another, that's that grid I'm talking about. That's the ripple effect. That's when mass change starts happening.
Yes. And that's what we need. We need people that realize that. I think I posted something like that the other day. It was on a Sunday because we don't go to church anymore because we just experience life and focus on meditation and just enjoying being in this life. And it's just, if people go to church, it's fine. For us, like, we've tried it. It just didn't work. We're much happier.
Didn't work for you.
Yeah, we're much happier doing what we do. And I like posted something. It's like, you know, you are God or something. And like some people, they're like, oh, that's blasphemous. And I'm like, no, no, we all came from source. Like, wherever, like whatever planet we're on or whatever you believe, like, we all came from somewhere. And it's from source. I think
that's because of religion. In most religions, like, it's, you have to be above what it is you're worshiping. And I think that's why a lot of people have that. I can't speak for everyone. I can see where that could come in perspective. Like, I know, you know, there's some religions that think you're born a sinner, you know, at birth. Right. This innocent little baby is already a sinner. Like,
I never got that. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's
and that's their perspective, and they're allowed to have that, just like you're allowed to have yours. No one's judging anyone. We're all here just to accept whatever that is. That doesn't mean we have to adhere to it. Exactly. Yeah, we can just question things and just think about it and decide what works for you. And you can change your mind. Yes, yes. I think that's important to say. Just because you were one way most of your life or however long for a certain period of time, you're allowed to change your mind if it's no longer serving you in your highest good. I feel like a lot of people like hold on to things like beliefs because they
they don't know what's beyond that, or they don't know what people are going to think, and so they just hold on to it, even though they may not necessarily believe it. I know I went through that, and it's a struggle because you create this life around this thing, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore, and you're like, well, now what? Or
who am I without this?
Who am I? Yeah, and it's a little bit mind blowing, but when you get past that, it's really beautiful to focus on the love part of it, and being happy and working on improving yourself instead of just avoiding working on yourself and just blaming other people or blaming the world or blaming the situation.
That's victim mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's very damaging and hurtful. And I think one of the roots of why people have all these issues, they're neglecting the self. Yeah. Yeah.
100%. It's sad, and it happens, and that happens to a lot of people. But there's also something like when you're allowed to change your mind, I think it says something about, getting out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone serves you, for certain things. But as humans, we're here to experience, to expand. The universe is ever expanding, and so are we. And I can't speak for myself, like as far as, well, I can speak for myself, but like for the parents, like you have kids, like, so it's different, I know, for you, because I know for my clients, that's a huge thing that changes. When they have kids, they kind of stop expanding themselves, and now they're expanding their children, and they lose their identity. Now they're mom. But and I always ask the question, but who are you? Mom is just a title, it's a label, but that's not who you are. Who are you? What do you love? What do you want to do?
Yeah. And then you go through that, you're like, I don't know who I am anymore.
That's the exciting thing. You can totally create and recreate yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And when you get outside that comfort zone, like you said, it's challenging at first, but that's when you know there's growth happening, because it feels uncomfortable because you're getting outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You might try something totally new that you would have never tried, in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that's exciting. I like to tell people, there's a lot of people where kind of like what you just said, like, well, who am I? What do I do? I don't even know where to start. There's so many people like that right now, especially moms. I've noticed a lot coming up with my clients who are moms that's coming through. If their kids age out or whatever, and then they're out of the house and they're like, oh, I don't know who I am. What do I do? And I like to say to them, just start trying things, because something that you could be like a natural at, or like just freaking mind-blowing, like Einstein amazing at, you might not have even tried yet. And you don't know what that thing is until you try. And you can try a lot of different things, and it might try something, you don't like it, it doesn't work. You just keep going until you find the thing that like lights you up. That's what you're here to do. That's your purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, I went through that too, and never thought I'd be a public cannabis advocate.
And look
I'm
at
like,
you.
well, here I am, like talking about cannabis and CBD,
doing lives and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and like energy and getting into crystals and like.
I remember when I first met you, you weren't really into any of that stuff.
No, I wasn't.
It's so cool
I
to
was
see
very
where you're
much
at
in my
now.
shell. I was very much in my shell, and
I know, and you're so you now, and I love it. Like, this is your soul. Like, if I had to picture Morgan's soul, the version you're being now is you.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's you, and it aligns with you, and it's really awesome.
That's awesome. Oh, hang on. I know. Oh, my kids are like, we want to go look at the supermoon. Yeah. Hey, give me like.
Oh yeah, it's a supermoon, guys. You guys gotta check it out.
Give me like 5 minutes, okay? Okay. Is Tristan asleep? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Is Tristan?
This is life.
Is Tristan asleep? No. Okay. Oh, he's hanging outside the door. Okay. Close the door. Give me 5 minutes, and we'll go look at the moon. Okay. Okay.
That's cute.
It is cute. We've been talking. We're like, we need to go see the supermoon. Well, that may be our cue that our live is over.
So let's end it with talking about the moon real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Tonight is the full. So it's not just a full moon; it's a supermoon. So it means it's closer than normal. It's bigger than normal, and it's the last supermoon of 2019.
Yeah.
So on the full moon, it's a good night to do releasing of things. Hi. How was your movie?
He says it was good.
Oh, good. I want to see it. So it's about releasing things that no longer serve you in your highest good. So as a practice, if you guys want tonight for the supermoon ritual, you can write down things on a piece of paper that no longer serve you in your highest good. Hi.
There's another one.
You're Facebook famous now. Both of you.
They're invading.
Yeah, so you can write down on this paper things that you want to release. Maybe it's fears or something holding you back or something you just want to change in life or whatever. You write it down on a piece of paper and you put I release blah blah blah. And then you go outside, read it out loud, and please put this in like a pot or something, but
Yeah.
light it on fire, put it down in a pot and let
Burn
it
it.
burn.
Burn it.
Yeah.
Burn it away into the
Release
universe.
it.
Yeah.
It's no longer yours anymore to bear. So, okay, what do these people say real quick, and then we'll hop off.
Let's see. Oh, someone
Rebecca
howled.
said hi.
She howled at the moon. Rebecca howled at the moon.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah. We just went Hannah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dan said, how long ago did you guys become friends? Gals.
Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. I say guys too all the time.
I would say
like
almost 2 years ago.
I guess it was almost 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It was.
That's
because
crazy.
Transcend has been open almost 2 years ago. And
That's
I was
crazy.
at the other location.
I know. And I was like one of your first, I think, customers, I think. Or what, not like one of the first. I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm just like, I was like there at the beginning. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's climbing in my lap now. So yeah, about 2 years.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you, Dorothy.
Awesome.
They are adorable and they're invading my
cute.
space.
They are.
Anyways,
Okay.
well, I'm looking forward to this next week. And anyone watching the replay, like put in the comments, like what you like, like what you want to talk about next time. And yeah, we'll be here next Wednesday. About 8:30
Central
Yeah.
Standard Time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were a little bit late on it, but it was also our first time like trying to figure out how to get these things going.
I know.
So thank you guys for being with us.
Yeah. We
And this
appreciate
was a
it.
longer one, but again, it was our first one. So
Yeah.
I think that everything that was covered tonight was supposed to be covered.
Yes.
But like Morgan said, if you have questions or want us to cover certain things, just send us either a personal message or comment on here. We'll go back and respond to it, and we'll be sure to cover it next week.
Yes.
And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm really excited about this.
Thank you.
You guys got good vibes. Like it.
I'm glad we're doing this.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot to us. We
Thanks,
really appreciate it. Okay.
All right.
Bye, boys. Have fun looking at the moon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.